Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud Learn to Lead. This is Ashu and today we will discuss very important current affairs of 22nd of April 2021. You can see two best images of the day, but today we will discuss very important and the most important current affair. So guys, watch this video till last, but I'm requesting you all the students that you have to like this video. You have to share this video as maximum as possible because we need your support, and you have to subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. But first of all, we will discuss about Affairs Cloud application that named as Careers Cloud. You can download this application from the description box link. We put a downloading link in the description box. You can download with very easy method. And after downloading, you can log in with your email ID. And after login, you have to click on this Crack Current Affairs section. After clicking on this Crack Current Affairs section, you can get 1 year subscription or you can subscribe for 2 years. It means you can subscribe for 12 months as well as for the 24 months. But both the subscription prices are very much low. And guys, you can purchase after paying very minimal amount. And what we are providing under this subscription, we are providing daily current affairs. In the daily current affairs section, we are providing three types of the current affairs. One is related to the detailed current affair of particular day. Next is the question and answer format of the current affairs of particular day. Third is the quiz section, which you can attempt on our application. Next is the weekly section. In the weekly section, we are again providing the three types of the sections. One is related to the detailed current affair of particular week. Next is the question and answer format of the current affair of particular week. And third is the quiz section, which you can attempt on our application and check that how much current affair you can retain for long time period on weekly basis. Next, we are providing the monthly section, and in the monthly section, we are providing various type of the PDFs to enhance your preparation. Like first is the study PDF. It means this PDF, under this PDF, we are providing detailed current affair of particular month. Next, to revise this current affair, we are also providing the question and answer format of the PDF for particular month so that you can revise these question and answer format of the current affairs. Next is the top 100. It means the best 100 current affairs also provided to you for a particular month, and it is also provided in the form of question and answer so that you can revise again and again the best current affairs before your exam. And to revise the current affair in the theoretical format like one-liner and the two-liner, we are also providing the pocket PDF. So this is daily, weekly and the monthly section, but to enhance your preparation, we are also providing the smart PDFs, which are also known as the topic-wise PDFs. Suppose your one topic is weak, you just want to revise books and authors before your exam, then you have to pick this books and authors PDF, then you can revise all the 2021 books and authors. And if you want to just revise the important days of 2021 or January, February or any month, then you can pick this type of the PDF. It means we are providing best to best 20 type of the topic PDF so that you can enhance your preparation. And guys, if you are a banking aspirant, then we are providing the banking awareness section, and we are again providing the three things in the banking awareness section. One is the detailed current affair of banking and economy. Next is the question and answer format of the banking and economy, and last is the quiz section. It means you can attempt this quiz especially for the banking and economy on our application, and you can check that how much you are prepared for your banking exam. Next is the exam PDF. It means this PDF is just to revise the current affair before your exam, because this is just a single PDF of full year. It means January, February, March is now gone. So that's why we covered all the current affair of these 3 months under one PDF, that is exam PDF. It means you have to just pick one PDF before your exam to revise the current affairs. Next is the special current affair. It is like budget and economic survey. It means we are providing the important facts and the detailed budget and economic survey. We are also providing the question and answer. It means expected question and answer which can be asked by the examiner in budget and economic survey. Next is the state current affair. If you are preparing for your central government exam like SSC banking or any other exam, then you are definitely preparing for your state exam. That's why we are covering every state and union territory so that your state exam can be cleared. And guys, we are covering every state and union territory. So guys, these all things like these special PDFs and also this daily, weekly and monthly comes under only one subscription. You have to just do one thing. You have to just download our application, that is Careers Cloud, from the description box link. You have to log in with your email ID and you can subscribe for even 1 year as well as for 2 years. Prices of these subscriptions are very much low. First see the price, then you will definitely surprise. And on that minimal price, we are providing 10% extra discount. If you use this code ASH10, then you will get 10% extra discount. Now guys, we started Sport and Care. So guys, if you have any query, then you can contact on this number and you can email us on this email ID. Even you can put your query in the comment box. I will definitely definitely reply of this query. But if I am not able, then you can basically email on this email ID and you can contact on this number. Now let's start today's current affair, that is the 22nd of April 2021. And I am again requesting you, all the students, that you have to like this video. We have a target of 700 plus likes, and you have to subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform, and you have to share this video as maximum as possible because we need your support, and you have to press this bell button so that you can receive the notification on time. So let's begin today's session with the most important question section, and here is our first question. Which company became the first participating country to ratify the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership? So the most important keyword under this question is this group that is known as the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Friend, this Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership was basically launched in the 19th ASEAN Summit. 19th ASEAN Summit of 2011, and the member state of this Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnerships are 16 at that time. But now India is not included under this plan because India boycotted this plan of China because it was started by the China. And all the member countries of ASEAN, it means the 10 member countries of ASEAN and including India, 6 more countries are there. 6 more countries are like China, Japan is there, South Korea, New Zealand, Australia and India. But India is not supporting this Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. 2 or 3 points are not in favor of India. So that's why India is not joining till now. So now there are only 10 plus 5 countries. It means total 15 countries will be a part of this Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership program. And it aims to create an integrated market with 15 countries, making it easier for the products and services of each the signatory countries to be available across the region. It means it is a free trade agreement between the 10 ASEAN countries and these 5 countries. So guys, you have to remember which 5 countries are the member of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. If we are not including the 10 ASEAN countries, then you have to remember these 5 countries: China, Japan, South Korea, New Zealand and Australia. And now which country became the first participating country to ratify this RCEP? This is, guys, Singapore. So remember, the country is Singapore. You can also see this image that Singapore ratifies mega free trade agreement that is known as RCEP. And you can also see this: Singapore ratified the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. With it became the first participating country to ratify this partnership, and which is the world's largest free trade agreement because it consists of 15 countries free trade agreement. And RCEP is an initiative led by China, but India had pulled out of the pact in 2019 because 2 or 3 conditions were not in favor of India. So that's why India pulled out of this pact. And in November 2020, 15 Asia Pacific countries including 10 members of ASEAN signed this RCEP. And you can also remember that this RCEP group is very vast group because the members who have signed RCEP pact account for almost 2.2 billion people, and with a combined GDP of USD 26.2 trillion. It means $26 trillion GDP only consists this group, that is RCEP. And RCEP is an agreement between the member states of ASEAN and its free trade agreement partners. You have to remember the 5 countries which are the free trade agreement partners. And this pact is main focused on the trade in goods and services, investment, intellectual property, dispute settlement, e-commerce, small and medium enterprises, and the economic cooperation. It is expected to improve the economic affected by the pandemic by reducing tariffs, strengthening supply chains with common rules of origin, and coding new e-commerce rules. And the pact includes a tariff elimination of at least 92% on traded goods. This will be very beneficial in the post-COVID-19 era. And guys, remember the ASEAN countries, there are total 10 members of the ASEAN group, you can say. And these 10 countries are: Brunei is there, Cambodia is there, Indonesia is there, Laos, or the Lao People Democratic Republic is there, Malaysia is there, Myanmar is there, Philippines is there, Singapore is there, Thailand and Vietnam. So these are the 10 countries which are part of ASEAN. But current Secretary General of ASEAN is Lim Jock Hoi. Remember, Lim Jock Hoi. He is currently the Secretary General of ASEAN, and he belongs to which country? He belongs to Brunei. And 2021 ASEAN Summit will also hosted by which country? It is also hosted by Brunei. Remember, it will be hosted by Brunei in November 2021, and it will be the 39th ASEAN in 2021. And firstly, it will be held in the April 2021, then it will be held in November 2021, because every year there will be there are basically two ASEAN summits, one in the first 6 months and last in the last 6 months. So there will be 38th ASEAN summit and 38th in April, 39th in basically November. So you can remember this. Now we can move to the next question, and you can also remember that ASEAN was established in which year? ASEAN was established in 1976. Established in 1976, and in 2021 Brunei is the chairman. Now we can move to next question. Next question is, which country cricket association won ICC Developmental Initiative of the Year award? Mark this question in the most important category, because the International Cricket Council announced the global winners of ICC Development Awards for 2020 for their contribution to cricket through different exceptional programs in 2020. And there are total 4 categories under this. One is the Developmental Initiative of the Year. Second is the 100% Cricket Female Cricket Initiative of the Year. Third is the ICC Digital Fan Engagement of the Year, and fourth one is the Cricket for Social Good Impact Initiative of the Year. We are just talking about the Development Initiative of the Year award, and this goes to Argentina Cricket Association. So guys, answer of this question is D, that is Argentina Cricket Association. Why they won this award? Because they attracted local audience in the South America to cricket, because Argentina is a very famous country of the South America. And you can also see under this image that is Argentina and Brazil among winners of ICC Development Awards. But Argentina won the Development Initiative of the Year, and Brazil basically won the 100% Cricket Female Cricket Initiative of the Year. You can see this. ICC Development of the Year is Cricket Argentina, to attracted local audience in the South America to cricket by producing 17 coaches, umpiring and scoring courses in the Spanish. And you can also see this 100% Cricket Female Cricket Initiative of the Year, that is by Brazil, that is for the developed women game in the South America. Next, ICC Digital Fan Engagement of the Year, that is the Vanuatu. I think you are listening this country first time, but I am telling you this country is basically in the South Pacific Ocean. If you see the map of Australia, like this is Australia, then this side, on the east side of the Australia, there is a country or an island that is known as the Vanuatu. Vanuatu Cricket Association won this ICC Digital Fan Engagement of the Year, provided cricket to fans during the pandemic when the Women T20 Grand Final was only live sporting event available. And Cricket for Good Social Impact Initiative of the Year by the Uganda Cricket Association, and it supported their players, volunteers and their families through a COVID-19 relief program. So these are the different initiatives, but you have to remember the first one is most important. ICC Development Initiative of the Year goes to the Cricket Association of Argentina. Now guys, you have to remember about this ICCC. It means I am talking about International Cricket Council. This was established in 1909. When it was established, 1909, its headquarters is in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Chairman is Greg Barclay. Remember, Greg Barclay is the currently chairman. CEO is Manu Sani. So the most confusing part here is who is chairman, who is CEO. You have to remember Manu Sani is the chief executive officer and chairman is Greg Barclay. Now we can move to the next question. What is the name of the neobank which was launched by the Google Pay creators with the partnership of the Federal Bank? First of all, you have to remember what is neobank. A neobank is a kind of a digital bank that works virtually. It doesn't have any type of the physical branches. It does not have a bank license of its own, but it partners with other commercial banks to provide licensed services. And recently, Google Pay launched this neobank with the help of the Federal Bank. And this neobank name of Google Bank is Fi Neobank. So answer of this question is D. And if you belongs to banking category or any type of the exam category, this question is most important question because it is established by Google Pay or the creators of the Google Pay. The two very famous co-creators of the Google Pay are Sujit Narayanan and Sumit Gavlani. These basically announced the launch of this neobank that named as Fi, and it is for the salaried millennials in partnership with the Federal Bank. So you can see here, Google Pay creators launch Neobank 5 for the millennials. Millennials stands for basically the people who are born between the 1981 to 1996. They are basically known as the millennials in current generation, or you can say they are also known as the Generation Y. Generation Y. And after this Generation Y, the new generation is after 1996. It means they are born after 1996. They are known as the Generation Z. From 1997 to 2012, that are known as the Generation Z or Z. And after 2012, which are born after 2012, they are basically known as the Generation Alpha. Generation Alpha. So guys, remember this generation tags, but you have to remember this 5 bank is for the new generation, or you can say the millennials in partnership with the Federal Bank. Those millennials who are salaried, this Neobank will help definitely. The Neobank is a kind of a digital bank that works virtually and does not have any type of the branches. You have to remember this, and you can also remember they don't have any bank license of its own, but it partners with the other commercial banks to provide license services. And guys, where is the headquarter of this 5 bank? Its headquarter is in Bengaluru, Karnataka. And guys, you can also remember about the Federal Bank because it was established with the help of the Federal Bank. Federal Bank was basically established in 1931, and you can also remember its managing director and CEO. We recently covered this question, that is Shyam Srinivasan. Shyam Srinivasan, or you can remember SS. And headquarter is in Kerala. And the tagline is your perfect banking partner. Your perfect banking partner. Now we can move to the next question. Which state is India's only state to have uniform civil code? So first of all, guys, you have to understand about uniform civil code, and it was very much in news, and it is a controversial issue because this uniform civil code refers to a common set of laws governing personal matters such as marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, and succession for all citizens of the country irrespective of their religion. Currently, different laws regulate these aspects for adherents of different religions, and a uniform civil code is meant to do away with these inconsistent personal laws. Like in India, there are different laws for different religion. Like Hindu Marriage Act is there, Hindu Succession Act is there, Indian Christian Marriage Act is different, Indian Divorce Act is different, Parsi Marriage Divorce and Marriage Act is different. Muslim personal laws are not codified and are based on their religious text through certain aspects of these are expressly recognized through laws such as the Shariat Application Act and the Dissolution of the Muslim Marriage Act. So there are so many laws according to the religion. But our constitution under Article 44 says that it is the one of the directive principle of the state policy that state shall endeavor to secure for a citizen of a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. It is Article 44 of directive principle of state policy. So guys, the first state of India, or the only state of India till date who applied this uniform civil code, is Goa. So guys, remember, this is the most important question you have to remember. You can see here, recently Chief Justice of India, that is S.A. Bobde, appreciated the uniform civil code. It is the only Indian state to have a uniform civil code, and it is currently in need of an hour. The uniform civil code calls for the formulation of one law for India which would be applicable to all religious communities in matters such as marriage, divorce, inheritance, adoption, or any type of the law. But in Indian Constitution, Uniform Civil Code is placed among the non-justiciable directive principle of the state policy under Article 44, because Article 44 says that the state shall endeavor to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. But under Article 37 of the Constitution, it makes clear that are not enforceable by any court, but lays down at the same time that these are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws, but it is not obligatory. It is just a fundamental in nature. So guys, remember what is Uniform Civil Code, and it is the only state, Goa is the only state to have Uniform Civil Code. And guys, remember about Goa, Chief Minister is Pramod Sawant, Governor is Bhagat Singh Kishori. He has additional charge of the Goa governor, but the main charge of Bhagat Singh Kishori is Maharashtra. Remember, he is also the governor of the Maharashtra. So guys, you have to remember the national parks in Goa, very important. There are two very important national parks in Goa. One is the Bhagwan Mahavir Sanctuary. It is one of the very famous wildlife sanctuary. And next next is the very famous national park, that is the Molam National Park. This question was asked in the UPPSC, that where is Molam National Park? So remember, it is in Goa. Now we can move to the next question. We discuss everything about the Uniform Civil Code. Next is that the father of banking sector reforms in India passed away. Who was this person? Most important question. Even mark this question in the most important section. It is not very important. Most important question. And what is the most important thing? That he was also known as the father of the banking sector reforms. Banking sector reforms was done in 1998 and in 1991. So these are very famous reforms in the banking sector. And this person is Maidavolu Narasimha, and very famous for the Narasimha Committee of 1998. So guys, remember, it is the most important question, and this question will come definitely. And you can also remember the other options, but first of all, let's see about this person that is known as Narasimha, or the M. Narasimham. So you can see here, former RBI Governor N. Narasimham, father of the Indian banking reforms, dies. And you can also see here, he was the first from Reserve Bank cadre to be appointed as RBI Governor. He belongs to which state? He belongs to Andhra Pradesh. You can remember, he belongs to which state? He belongs to Andhra Pradesh, because he was born in 1927 in Andhra Pradesh. And he was the he also served as the executive director of the World Bank and also in the International Monetary Fund. He also served as the vice president of Asian Development Bank. He was honored with the Padam Vibhushan in year 2000 for his contribution to the Indian banking sector. He was the chairperson of the Committee on the Financial System of 1991 that led to the LPG reforms, and the Committee of the Banking Sector Reforms of 1998, which are popularly known as Narasimha Committee 1 and Narasimha Committee 2. So guys, remember, Narasimha Committee 1 and Narasimha Committee 2. These are the very famous committees recommended by these two persons. And Narasimha Committee 1 recommended the merger of the large Indian banks, which was the reason behind the recent merger of the 10 nationalized banks. And this is recommended by the Narasimha Committee 1. And it has also proposed the concept of the narrow banking, and was also responsible for the creation of the private sector banks like ICICI, HDFC, Kotak Mahindra Bank. So these are basically the creation of this narrow banking system. And his committee recommended the implementation of this SARFAESI Act. We recently discussed about SARFAESI Act in passed in year of 2002. And it was also responsible for the raise in capital adequacy norms, entry of the foreign banks, and creation of the asset reconstruction company, which comes under the SARFAESI Act of 2002. And Narasimha Committee is also credited with the recommending the setting up of the regional rural banks as subsidiaries of the public sector banks, RRB's creation as a subsidiary of the public sector banks. And a very famous book he had written, that is From Reserve Bank to the Finance Ministry and Beyond, because he was appointed as the governor of RBI, and then goes to the Ministry of Finance, and he goes to the some of the committees. So that's why there is a book named as From Reserve Bank to the Finance Ministry and Beyond, some reminiscence. So guys, you have to remember all the things about this person that is known as Maidavolu Narasimham. So now we can move to the next question, but you can discuss these options. These are again very important options. First is the Low Ottens. Low Otten, very famous person. He was recently died, but he was the inventor of audio cassette tapes. So guys, remember, he was the inventor of audio cassette tapes. Next is Maudud Ahmad, again very famous name, because he was former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, not Finance Minister, Bangladesh Prime Minister. Next is the KC Chakravarti, again very famous name. He was the former RBI Deputy Governor. We covered recently this question. He was former RBI Deputy Governor. So guys, remember who was recently died, and here is the Maidavolu Narasimham. Now we can move to the next section. It is our very important question section, guys. You have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to share this video as maximum as possible, and you have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. Here is the first question. Which exchange became the first cryptocurrency exchange in India to provide investment declaration reports? And this company is not indigenously Indian company. This is basically a United Arab Emirates company that is known as BitX. So guys, remember the name of the company is BitX. You can see this. BitX become the first crypto exchange to provide investment disclosure. And you can also remember that this cryptocurrency exchange has announced its issuing of investment declaration reports for all the retail and institutional investors, and it is in compliance with the amendments made to the Companies Act 2013, because recently in March 2021, it means in the last month, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs amended the Companies Act of 2013 and made it mandatory for Indian companies, even unlisted and private, to disclose their dealing in cryptocurrency or virtual currency they have traded or invested. So guys, remember the first cryptocurrency company is BitX, who will basically provide the investment declaration reports. And this company belongs to which country? This country is United Arab Emirates. And you can also remember that this report will contain information about what the investors have sold or bought, and hence it was act of proof of the exact money the investors made or lost while trading in the cryptocurrencies to tax authorities. Earlier, these details were not provided to the investors. So that's why there is a need of this investing report, and especially for the income tax department. So guys, remember this is BitX, and don't remember who is the founder or CEO. Just remember only this thing, that this company started to provide the investment declaration report. Now we can move to the next question. Which company became the first mutual fund company to cross 5 lakh crore average asset under management? So first of all, you have to remember this. What is this asset under management? Asset under management is just the total asset being controlled by the mutual fund company, and it includes all the assets invested by the mutual fund as well as the cash held by it. And this company, who became the first mutual fund company to cross 5 lakh crore average asset under management, is SBI Mutual Fund. So guys, remember, this is the question you have to just remember from the slide, that SBI Mutual Fund announced that its average asset management fund has crossed 5 lakh crore, making it as the first mutual fund company to cross this mark. And its average asset under management has increased to rupees 5.04 lakh crore, increased to 5.04 lakh crore from the 3.37 lakh crore in the 1 year. And SBI Mutual Fund has been a growth of 35% in the financial year of 2020-21. So this is a big increase in the mutual fund assets of the SBI Mutual Fund. So guys, remember these things about the SBI Mutual Funds. And you can also remember what is SBI Mutual Fund. SBI Mutual Fund is a joint venture between the State Bank of India and a company named as Amundi. It is basically a European asset management company. And who is the CEO and MD of this SBI Mutual Fund? That is Mr. Vinay M. Tonse. Remember, Vinay M. Tonse. Headquarters in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and SBI Mutual Fund was established in 1987. So you can also see this, that SBI has crossed this 5 lakh crore, making it the first mutual fund company to cross this mark. Now we can move to the next question. Which organization launched its flagship report, State of the World Population 2021? This is the name of the report, that is State of World Population 2021, titled My Body is My Own, Claiming the Right to Autonomy and Self-Determination. So in other words, you can say that this report mainly focus on the women issues. And guys, this is the first report of this organization which focuses on the bodily autonomy. And this is United Nations Population Fund. So answer of this question is C, that is UNFPA. This is the organization which was also known as the United Nations Fund for Population Activities. Now it is known as United Nations Population Fund. So this is the first report of the United Nations which focuses on the body autonomy and the right of a person to govern what happens to their body without the influence or without the influence from others. And the report was developed under the United Nations Population Fund division. So you have to remember this. And you can also see this, my body is my own. This is the tagline of this report, and main report name is the State of World Population Report. It means what are the conditions under which the people are living. So that why this is known as the State of World Population 2021 report. And globally, only 75% of the countries legally ensure full and equal access to the contraceptions. And around 71% of the countries ensure access to overall maternity care. and only 55% of the women all over globe are fully empowered to make their choices over their body and the sexual consent. And 80% of the countries have laws supporting sexual health and well-being, and 56% of the countries have laws and policies to support comprehensive sexuality education. So this is the report, but you don't have to remember these percentages because it is not important. You have to just remember the name of the report and which organization basically released this report. And according to this report, more than 50% of the women from 57 developing countries do not have the right to make decision regarding their body, which includes contraception, healthcare, sexuality. It means their decision is not their decision. Actually, their decision is influenced by the other people like husband, mother, or anyone. So the 50% of the women feels that from the 57 developing countries that they do not have the right to make decision. This is a very bad thing, guys. You have to give the rights to your wife, sister, and any woman in your house so that they can make their decision by themselves. So now we can move to the next question, but you can remember about this United Nations Population Fund, that this organization was basically established in 1969, and its headquarters is in New York, because United Nations headquarters is in New York. And who is the head is Natalia Kanem. So remember, Natalia Kanem is currently the head of United Nations Population Fund, and its main aim to improving reproductive and the maternal health worldwide. Now we can move to next question. Recently, Olympian Ahmed Hussain Lala passed away. He was associated with which game? So guys, don't confuse with Lala, because there is one player who belongs to cricket and he was also known as the Lala, but his name basically includes Lala Amarnath. That Lala Amarnath belongs to cricket, but this Ahmed Hussain Lala belongs to football. So guys, remember, Ahmed Hussain Lala belongs to football team, and he died due to COVID-19. And he belongs to which state? He belongs to Telangana. So remember, he belongs to Telangana or Hyderabad. And Ahmed Hussain represented the Indian football team, which secured 4th place in 1956 Melbourne Olympics. And he was also a part of the Indian team that participated in the 1958 Asian Games, which was held or hosted by the Tokyo, Japan. He had also represented Hyderabad City Police, or you can say the Mohan Bagan Sporting Club. He had also coached the Indian football team for the President Cup that was held in Seoul. So guys, remember this player name, the name of the state from which he belongs, and guys, you have to remember especially the game. So these 3 things are very important for you. Now we can move to the next question. Which state recently launched zero interest crop loan scheme? So the main keyword of this question is zero interest crop loan scheme, and it is for the well-being of farmers. And this state is very well known for his unique schemes, and this state is Andhra Pradesh, and the chief minister is YSR Jagan Mohan Reddy. So guys, remember, YS Jagan Mohan Reddy, chief minister of Andhra Pradesh, launched this YSR zero interest loan farmers scheme, and the government of Andhra Pradesh has already provided a financial assistance of 65,000 crore to the farmers under the various schemes. And especially under this zero interest loan crop scheme, the Andhra Pradesh government has directly credited some amount into the bank accounts of around 6 lakh farmers who had availed a crop loan of up to rupees 1 lakh during the 2019-20 time period, and it is especially for the Rabi season, but repaid the amount within the stipulated time. So all the interest which are basically repaid by the farmers, now YSR government or the Andhra Pradesh government is returning to the farmers. So this is the big initiative of the Andhra Pradesh government. So you can see here, Chief Minister YS Jagan Mohan Reddy launched zero interest subvention scheme for farmers, and you can also see this. And around rupees 128 crore was directly credited into the bank account of 6.27 lakh farmers who had availed a crop loan of rupees 1 lakh up to 1 lakh during the 2019-20 Rabi season, and repaid the amount within the stipulated time. In simple word, you can say they will basically repay the interest of the farmers which are paid by the farmers. So guys, remember, recently in December 2020, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy launched YSR free crop insurance scheme for the farmers who have lost their crops during the Kharif season of 2019. Kharif season of 2019. This scheme same as the Rabi season, but It is for the Kharif season 2019, under which the amount of almost 1200 crore was directly credited into the bank account of the 9 lakh farmers. So guys, remember this. This is for Kharif crops, and now for Rabi crops, insurance scheme's name is same. And guys, remember there are very important 3 national parks in Andhra Pradesh. One is the Rajiv Gandhi National Park. Next is Papi Konda, very famous Papi Konda National Park, and next is the Shri Venkateshwara National Park. The most important national parks of the Andhra Pradesh. There is one very famous wildlife sanctuary is also there, Kolleru Wildlife Sanctuary. There is very famous dam, that is Krishna, on the Krishna river, that is Tungabhadra Dam. Remember, Tungabhadra river is also a tributary of the Krishna. And there is Nagarjun Sagar Dam. Nagarjun Sagar Dam, that is also in on Krishna river. Very famous. Krishna Wildlife Sanctuary is also there. So these are the very famous things about the Andhra Pradesh. You know the Chief Minister. Now, who is the Governor of Andhra Pradesh? So guys, remember, Governor of Andhra Pradesh is Vishwa Bhushan Harichandan. Vishwa Bhushan Harichandan, and he belongs to which state? He belongs to Odisha, but recently he won the Kalinga Ratan Award. Remember, Kalinga Ratan Award, that is won by Vishwa Bhushan by the Odisha government. Vishwa Bhushan Harichandan. Now moving to next question. The event Gender Samvad was launched by which ministry to create awareness about the gender related interventions? And this Gender Samvad is basically launched by the Ministry of Rural Development. So guys, remember, Ministry of Rural Development, and this is launched by the Ministry of Rural Development with the help of the Deen Dayal Upadhyay Annatodaya Yojana and the National Rural Livelihood Mission to create awareness about the gender related interventions. And the event was launched as a part of the Azadi Ka Amrut Mahotsav, which is the 75th anniversary of Indian independence, which we will celebrate in 2022 on 15th of August. And this event is a jointly initiative of the Deen Dayal Annatodaya Yojana. You have to remember this. It is a jointly initiative of Deen Dayal Annatodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission. And guys, remember, the event helps in getting experts' opinion regarding the handling of the implementation barriers, and it also helps to know the best practices of women agencies of other states. And this event is also jointly organized by the IWWAGE. It stands for Initiative for What Works to Advance Women and Girls in the Economy. It means it is just to solve the issue of the gender empowerment and also to provide the livelihood for the women. This is the main initiative of this Gender Samvad. And guys, remember, who is currently the Union Minister of Rural Development? That is Narendra Singh Tomarji. And Narendra Singh Tomarji constituency is Morena, Madhya Pradesh. Next is Ministry of Education, Ramesh Pokhriyal ji. Ramesh Pokhriyal constituency is Haridwar. Haridwar is in Uttarakhand. Next is Ministry of Women and Child Development. Very famous person, and it is Samriti Irani. Samriti Irani constituency is Amethi, Uttar Pradesh. She defeated Rahul Gandhi from Amethi. Next, Ministry of Home. Very famous person and Chanakya of the Indian politics of BJP. And Ministry of Home is Amit Shah, and his constituency is Gandhinagar, Gujarat. It is the oldest constituency. It is the old constituency of Lal Krishna Advani ji, but now this time Amit Shah ji contested election from the Gandhinagar. So guys, remember, Ministry of Home, Amit Shah. Now moving to next question. Which institute and the National Cooperative Development Corporation signed a MOU to promote greater collaboration towards sustainable development in the cooperatives? It means this National Cooperative Development Corporation will use the experience and expertise of this institute to develop the cooperatives on the goals of the sustainable developmental goals. And this IIT is IIT Kharagpur, and this partnership is especially for the farmers because they will collaborate and supplement the utilization of resources and facilities to promotion and formation of the farmers producer organization. So guys, remember, it is IIT Kharagpur. So you can also see this IIT Kharagpur and National Cooperative Development Corporation signed MOU to promote sustainable development goals, especially in the cooperatives, agriculture sector and the allied sectors of the agriculture. And the Agriculture and the Food Engineering Department will join this National Cooperative Development Corporation to empower rural India through the cooperatives and the farmers producer organizations. They will collaborate and supplement the utilization of the resources, facilities to the formation and the promotion of the farmers producer organization. So the main motive of this collaboration is just to teach the farmers, or you can say just to educate the farmer that how they can use the resources, and how this farmer producer organization can provide the better livelihood to the farmers. And guys, you can also remember that recently this IIT Kharagpur signed a MOU with the National Institute of Urban Affairs, for building accessible, safe and inclusive Indian cities, that is also known as the BASIC. So guys, remember, it is with the National Institute of Urban Affairs and with the IIT Kharagpur. We covered this question in the February 2021. And you can also remember about this NCDC. This organization is not so much important, but you can remember because it is a governmental organization. It was established in 1963. Its managing director is Sudeep Kumar Naik, but it is not important. I am repeating again. It is not very important. And head office is in New Delhi. So remember this. Now we can move to next question. Which state signed a MOU with the World Trade Center to promote trade and bring in national and international investment, so the state investment can be increased and ease of doing business can also be enhanced? And this state government is Haryana, and this World Trade Center will be established in Faridabad. Exact place is Faridabad in Haryana. You can see this. The Haryana government organization and World Trade Center will launch one World Trade Center in Faridabad. So you can see this. This is an organization of the Haryana government, that is Haryana State Industrial and Infrastructure Development Corporation, signed MOU with the World Trade Center to promote trade and bring in national and international investment in Faridabad, Haryana. And the partnership will provide a platform to this Haryana State Industrial and Infrastructure Development Corporation to support WTC, it means World Trade Center Faridabad, and investors through a single window clearance system. And this single window clearance system will help the farmers will help the industrialists as well as the partners for the requirement of the application, sanctions, incentives and permissions according to the existing policies and regulations of the government of Haryana. So through this collaboration, World Trade Center is planning to set up World Trade Center in Faridabad. If you belongs to Haryana, then this is the most important thing, that where will be the World Trade Center will be set up, that is in Faridabad, Haryana. And why Faridabad? Because the home of the various manufacturing unit is one of the prime industrial estate of the Haryana State Industrial and Infrastructure Development Corporation is Faridabad. So guys, remember recently Startup Haryana set up a Department of Information Technology, Electronics and Communication that is established by the government of Haryana, and they signed a memorandum of understanding with the India Accelerator to build a strong startup ecosystem in Haryana. So you have to just remember that Haryana government set up a Haryana startup organization which signed a memorandum of understanding with India Accelerator so that they can build strong ecosystem for the startups in Haryana. So this MOU will definitely help in bridging gap between the industry and the startup. So don't remember this organization because it is a particular Haryana organization, but if you belongs to Haryana, then I am telling you this head office is in Panchkula and its managing director is Anurag Agarwal. So you if you belongs to Haryana, then you have to remember this, otherwise it is not important for you other guys. Now we are moving to the important question, but you can also remember about Haryana guys. Haryana Chief Minister is Manohar Lal Khattar. Remember Manohar Lal Khattar. There is one Deputy CM of Haryana, that is Dushyant Chautala. And who is the Governor of Haryana? Haryana Governor is Satyadev Narayan Arya. And there are two very famous national parks in Haryana. One is the Sultanpur National Park. Second is the Kalesar National Park. These two national parks are the very famous in Haryana. Now we can move to the next question. All the very important questions are now covered. Now we are moving to the important questions. Guys, you have to provide us 700 plus likes. You have to share this video as maximum as possible. You have to subscribe this channel if you are new on this platform. So here is the first question in the important section. Central government has extended the insurance scheme under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan package, which was launched due to COVID-19, for health workers for how much time period? And this scheme was basically announced by the central government as a part of the 1.7 lakh crore COVID-19 relief package. And the insurance scheme provides an insurance cover of rupees 50 lakh. Remember, it is not 5 lakh, it is 50 lakh to health workers fighting COVID-19 and for those who lost their lives on the account of COVID-19 duty. But it lapsed on the 24th of March 2021. That's why 1 year time period is now extended. So answer of this question is 1 year. So guys, remember 50 lakh rupees insurance provided to the health workers fighting to the COVID-19 and for those who lost their lives on the account of the COVID-19 duty. And the scheme is implemented by the New India Assurance or the Insurance Company Limited. So remember, New India Assurance Company Limited, and it is funded through the National Disaster Response Fund, NRDF. Remember, which is operated by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare for this purpose. And there is no age limit for this scheme. The entire amount of premium will be borne by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So remember this: no age limit, and the entire amount of the premium will be borne by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. This is the important thing. And who is the Union Minister of Health and Family Welfare? This is Harsh Vardhan, and the constituency is Chandni Chowk, New Delhi. Now we can move to the next question, but you can also see this. Center extends the insurance scheme for the health workers under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana for 1 year. Now we can move to the next question, but it is from the picture. It is just a news. It is just information for you. Cabinet approved approval for the other countries in April 2021. So you can see what are the approvals. First is the Memorandum of Understanding between the CCI. CCI stands for the Competition Commission of India, and CADE. It means the Administrative Council of Economic Defense of Brazil. So you don't have to remember the organization. You have to remember Competition Commission of India and the government of Brazil signed a Memorandum of Understanding. So what is the Memorandum of Understanding? It is basically, and it is just to improve the economic ties. But this agreement is not important for you. The Competition Commission of India in this news is very important for you. And guys, remember who is the chairperson? Chairperson is Ashok Kumar Gupta. Ashok Kumar Gupta. Headquarters is in New Delhi, and it comes under the control of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Next is the approval for MOU between the ICAI. Now the organization is important here is the ICAI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. It means the MOU is in between the Chartered Accountants of Australia and New Zealand, or you in simple words can say that it is an agreement in the field of accounting between India, Australia and the New Zealand. So remember this. And guys, next is the MOU signed between the India and Bangladesh in area of the trade remedial measures. So it is the country of Bangladesh. Bangladesh celebrating 50 year of independence in 2021 because it got independence in 1971 from Pakistan, and it aims to establish a framework of cooperation in the areas of the trade remedial measures. So the main word is the trade remedial measures. It also covers activities in the area of the anti-dumping, or you can say the safeguards measures of the bilateral trades, which comes under the World Trade Organization's provisions. The partnership aims to discourage unfair trade practices and promote rule-based bilateral trading between the India and Bangladesh. So guys, just remember India and Bangladesh for the trade, and Australia and New Zealand for the chartered accountants, and Brazil for the economic ties with the Competition Commission of India. So there is nothing important under this news, but you can also remember about the Brazil. Brazil president is Jair Bolsonaro, and the capital is Brasilia, currency is real. Remember this. Now moving to one line, an important point. Here is the first point. National Civil Service Day is celebrated on the 21st of April 2021. So very simple question, why it is celebrated on 21st of April, and what is the main motive behind to celebrate this day? It is just to acknowledge and appreciate the contribution of the civil servants towards ensuring the seamless functioning of the public administration and affairs. Cloud also salute to the civil servants who are basically functioning seamlessly and also contributing to the public administration. And guys, remember it is celebrated on 21st of April because it is related to the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and on same day 21st of April, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the Home Minister, the first Home Minister of independent India, addressed the Administrative Service Officer at the Metcalfe House in New Delhi in 1947. So in this address he referred the civil servant as the steel frame of India. Remember, steel frame of India are the civil servants. And the first civil service day was celebrated or observed in 2006. Next, Mahamat Idris Deby Itno, named as the president of Chad. You have to remember the first word, that is Mahamat. Mahamat. He is just 37-year-old and he is a 4-star general of the Chad army and has taken over the president of Chad. The military council had named Mahamat Idris Deby Itno as the transitional order of Chad following the death of his father Idris Deby Itno. So Idris Deby Itno was the former president of this Chad country, but he recently died. So that's why his son Mahamat Idris Deby Itno, who was the army general of this country, become the president, and he was also named as the supreme head of the armed forces. So guys, remember this country is Chad, and what is the capital? Capital is N'Djamena. And D is silent basically, or you can pronounce D. N'Djamena. Next is India's 40th scientific expedition to Antarctica returns to Cape Town. So you have to remember it is the 40th scientific expedition to Antarctica, and it was on board with the MV Vasily Golovin. Golovnin. This is the name of the vessel. MV Vasily Golovin, a chartered ice vessel, began their journey from the Marmigao port of Goa to Antarctica on 7th of January 2021. So on the way to Antarctica, the team developed 4 autonomous ocean observing directional wave spectra, wave drifters between the 35 degree and the 50 degree south latitude in collaboration with the Indian National Center for the Ocean Information Services, Hyderabad. And the expedition had a team of 20 personnel by Bharti, led by the Atul Suresh Kulkarni, and 21 personnel at the Maitri led by the Ravinder Santosh, because there are 2 service stations of India in the Antarctica which are functional, like Bharti and the Maitri. So 20 personnel at the Bharti which are leading by the Atul Suresh Kulkarni, and 21 personnel at the Maitri leading by the Suresh Santosh, Ravinder Santosh, not Suresh Santosh, Ravinder Santosh. So now it returned to Cape Town. So it is just information. Next, ICRA mitigated India's GDP growth forecasted for financial year 22 by 0.5%. So first of all, what is the abbreviation of ICRA? ICRA stands for Information and Credit Rating Agency of India, and now they reduced India's GDP growth forecast for financial year 22 by 0.5%. Now they projected the growth in the range between 10 to 10.5%. 10 to 10.5% against their earlier prediction of 10 to 11% of its earlier estimation due to the surge in the COVID-19 cases and the localized restriction. So guys, remember, because the COVID-19 cases are increasing, so that's why they decreased the projected growth of India in the financial year 22 by 0.5%. Earlier they predicted 10 to 11% by now, but now they predicted 10 to 10.5%. So it is Information and Credit Rating Agency of India. It is owned by the Moody's Corporation of United States of America, established in 1991, and headquarters is in Gurgaon. Who is the MD and CEO of this ICRA? MD and CEO is Mr. N. Sivaraman. Remember. Next, United Nations report beyond the pandemic, building back better from crisis in Asia and the Pacific. So this report highlighted that the debt to GDP ratio of Asia and the Pacific countries estimated to rise from 41 to 47% between the 2019 to 20 and 49% by the 2021 due to COVID-19. Next, India elected to 3 bodies of the United Nations Economic and Social Council. And these 3 bodies are Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, Executive Board of the United Nations Entity for the Gender Equality and Empowerment of Women. Third is the Executive Board of the World Food Programme. So don't remember, because other countries are also elected, but India is elected for the United Nations Economic and Social Council. So guys, remember, where is the headquarters of this organization? Headquarters is in New York, United States of America. It is also known as ECOSOC, Economic and Social Organization of United Nations. Now we can move to the question of the day. 21st of April 2021 question was, what was the paid up capital of the RBI when it was commenced operation as the India's central bank on the 1st of April 1935? So guys, you have to remember this, that RBI did not start as the government owned bank, but as a privately held bank without major government ownership, because it started with a share capital of the 5 crore rupees, and out of this 5 crore, the amount of 4 crore 97,000, 4 crore 97, not 4 crore basically, it is 49,78,000. Remember, out of 5 crore rupees, the amount of rupees 49,78,000 was subscribed by the private holders, and only 22 lakh was subscribed by the central government. So answer of this question is 5 crore rupees. Now we can move to the question of the day. Question of the day is, where is the printing press of the Bharatiya Reserve Note Mudran Limited located? So guys, you have to remember this is the most important question for the static banking, and this was asked so many times because there are two printing presses of the government of India. One is basically a private organization, second is the government of India organization. So this is basically private limited, that is known as the Bharatiya Reserve Note Mudran Limited. So you have to tell me where is the printing presses of this private limited located. So guys, you have to only comment in the comment box because I am answering all the comments. So guys, you please provide 700 plus likes. Please subscribe this channel if you're new on this platform. Please press this bell button so that you can receive the notification, and share this video as maximum as possible. And it is a Affairs Cloud promise that it will boost your confidence in the general awareness section. Definitely, if you're reading the current affairs from the PDFs and if you're watching the videos regularly, then your current affairs section will go definitely strong. But you have to subscribe our PDFs from our application. You have to download this application from the link given in the description box, and you can subscribe for 1 year as well as for 2 years. The prices are very much low. So guys, we are also providing the 10% extra discount. You have to use this code ASH10 if you want 10% extra discount. So guys, I'm always saying that don't take life so much serious. Life is fun. Always be happy. Happiness is the key of success. And thank you so much for watching this video, and take care. Bye bye.